All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about a really powerful idea, one that kind of flips the script on how we think about money. We're not talking about flashy cars or designer everything. No, we're talking about a much smarter, way more subtle approach to building real, lasting wealth, basically in plain sight. So picture this guy. You'd walk right past him in a coffee shop and not think twice. Nothing about him screams millionaire, and you know what? That is completely 100% by design. This isn't about hiding money out of fear or anything. It's about making a conscious choice not to let your money define how you look or how you live your life. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with a big problem that a lot of high earners run into. Then we'll introduce this idea of discreet frugality, and we'll break it down into 3 super practical areas: your professional image, your home, and yeah, your car. And then we'll get to the best part, what this strategy is really all about.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about the dilemma. As your income starts to climb, you basically hit this fork in the road. And honestly, this is where a lot of people go wrong, falling into one of 2 traps that can just absolutely wreck their financial goals.
And here they are, the 2 big traps. On one side, you've got lifestyle inflation. You know the deal. You make more, you spend more. It feels like you're moving up, but you're just stuck on a financial treadmill. Then you have the other extreme, the person who takes it way too far, becoming like the office weirdo who only eats brown bananas to save a few pennies, and that can actually end up hurting your professional image.
So clearly, there has to be a better way, right? A smart middle ground that lets you build wealth without looking cheap or acting like a total miser. And that, my friends, is where discreet frugality comes into play.
Some people call it stealth frugality, but it's all about the art of being smart, not cheap. It means you're super intentional with your money. You cut back like aggressively on the things that just don't matter to you. That way, you can look totally normal to everyone else while your net worth is just quietly growing in the background.
And the whole philosophy behind it is incredibly simple, but so powerful. Your actual financial reality, your savings, your investments, your true net worth, should always be way bigger than how wealthy you look on the outside. It's the complete opposite of that fake it till you make it mindset.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Step 1, how you present yourself at work. And this is a huge one, because getting this wrong can cost you way more in missed promotions and opportunities than you'd ever save on a cheap suit. Now, this brings up a really important point, the difference between discreet frugality and that quiet luxury trend we hear about. See, quiet luxury is still about status. It's about wearing a $1,000 sweater that just happens to not have a logo. Discreet frugality, totally different. It's not about the brand at all. It's about looking competent by pairing a simple, quality shirt with maybe one high-quality piece like a great tie, when it counts. Quiet luxury whispers, "I'm rich." Discreet frugality says nothing. And that silence, that's its power. So how do you actually do this? Well, here are the rules. Only spend real money on timeless pieces you'll wear all the time. Think about the cost per wear. A really good pair of shoes for $150 that you wear every day for years is a way smarter buy than a cheap pair you have to replace twice a year. Just remember, the goal here is to signal that you're competent and professional, not to show off your bank statement.
All right, let's tackle the giant in the room, your home. For most of us, this is our single biggest expense, and it's where that lifestyle inflation we talked about can do the most damage. But you'll find that truly wealthy people, they play this game very differently.
Take a good look at this number. Research shows that over 40% of millionaires today bought their first home for less than $400,000. I mean, just let that sink in. They weren't stretching themselves to the absolute limit to buy the biggest, fanciest house on the block. Their playbook is all about long-term strategy. By living well within their means, they give their money the freedom to grow and compound. They're making decisions based on practical things like good school districts, not a flashy zip code. And here's the kicker. A modest home in a solid neighborhood provides the perfect cover for all your other frugal habits. And now for our third practical step, your car. I mean, it's one of the biggest status symbols out there, right? But with this discreetly frugal mindset, you can actually turn it from a financial drain into a strategic tool. And there are really 2 smart ways to go about it. The first road is the most common one, and it's totally backed by data. Just look at this quote. The typical millionaire is not rolling up in a brand new Ferrari. Nope, they're driving a reliable, practical car like a slightly used Honda or Toyota. Why? It's simple. They care more about low maintenance costs and slow depreciation than they do about turning heads. But then, there's the second strategy. This one's a bit more advanced. There was a guy who practiced stealth frugality who bought a used Jaguar XJ8 for the same price as a new Toyota Camry.
Now, to the outside world, it looked like he was playing the game, keeping up. But in reality, he was still socking away over half his income. It was a strategic splurge that gave him a normalcy cloak, letting him be frugal everywhere else without anyone batting an eye. So we've covered your professional look, your home, your car. You're saving a huge chunk of your income, all while looking completely normal. So what's the point? What is the actual payoff for all this discipline? Well, it's about completely rewriting your definition of what wealth and success really mean.
And that brings us to what might be the most important question in this whole discussion. When you decide not to spend that money on the bigger house or the fancier car, what are you actually buying instead?
And here's your answer. You're not buying more stuff. You are buying freedom. You're buying control over your own time. You're buying the ability to say no to a job you hate, or to take a year off to travel without panicking. You're buying a life where your money serves you instead of you being a slave to it. That's what success without the stress looks like.
And look, this isn't some new age idea. Decades of research, most famously from the book The Millionaire Next Door, found this simple, powerful truth. The cornerstone habit of the truly wealthy isn't spending big. It's consistent, disciplined frugality. So let's wrap this up with one final thought I want you to take with you. If you completely removed the need to impress anybody, what would you really buy? What do you actually value? Answering that question honestly is the very first step toward building a life of not just stealth wealth, but of real, genuine freedom.